Hello everybody, 'tis I, the Rumpled One. Sunday, July the 8th, the year 2012. Just a few days after July 4th, Independence Day. The sad part is, we're not independent. We're slaves. I've talked about this before, and in fact there's a few other people out on YouTube talking about that we're slaves, but we've come to the same conclusion, but we may be looking at it slightly different. We're economic slaves, financial slaves. The reason I say this, number one, your means of income production are regulated. If you're free, you're not regulated. If you're regulated, you're not free. I want you to ponder that for a couple of seconds. Because a lot of people might want to argue. But it's just simple facts. Almost every line of work that you endeavor, you have to get permission from the government in the form of a license, now you say, well, I've got a job, I'm not licensed. Well, maybe you're not, but your employer is probably licensed. And that's where the problem is. I mean, you've seen the videos where, little girls are arrested for having a lemonade stand. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But that's just one way you're a financial slave. The second way is after you've been granted permission to make money, then they take some of that money through taxes. Obama likes to call it fair share. There's no such thing. It's fictitious. It's a lie. It's doublespeak. And I think you know it. You don't need me to tell you that. So basically, we're chained financially. The next way is when you spend the money, most places you have to pay a tax. So you have to pay a fee to get a license. Then when you earn money, you pay a tax. And then when you spend money, you pay a tax. How is that free? You tell me. Please, somebody tell me how that's free. Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, all those guys, spinning in their graves. Now some people say, yeah, a bunch of slave owners. And I guess Chris Rock has caught some flack because he was calling Independence Day white people's day. There may be some truth to that, but that's a little off point here. But the fact of the matter is Lincoln may have freed the slaves, but he didn't free we the people. Back then, there weren't so many taxes. So what we have now is the Matrix, an illusion of freedom. They hoist up the flag, play the anthem, fly some jets over, have a parade, set off some fireworks, and everybody's celebrating the land of the free. But it's an illusion. You're being duped. on every level of government, from cities to counties to state to the feds, it's about one thing and one thing only: regulation. And through regulation, they take your money, or your property, or they'll take even the illusion of freedom away and put you in jail or prison. That's the situation. What can we do about it? That's the real question. Well, number one, you have to be aware of it. You have to understand it and not be duped. And not allow your family to be duped. Not allow your friends to be duped. Your associates to be duped. Spread the word. And it's really not talking politics. It's talking freedom, liberty. How can we pursue our happiness if we have to ask permission for it? I was talking to somebody the other day, and they made a valid point. Most states consider driving a privilege. A privilege. You want to drive a vehicle, it's a privilege. But if you think about it, you have to earn the right. And once you earn the right, it's not a privilege. It's your right. So if you pass the test, you've earned the right. It's no longer a privilege. You've earned it. And they shouldn't be able to take it away at a whim. So, once again, language. You have to pay attention to it. I hear the chainsaws in the background. It's Sunday. I guess they're getting the jump on the week. But you really have to understand this, is that we're bound. We are chained financially. I made a video that talked about how it's only because we have money, this coin, this paper money, that people can become rich. Because it would almost be physically impossible to become rich unless you could somehow convert your product into something that you could store. That's because otherwise, I mean, think about Bill Gates, billionaire. That's paper money. Numbers in a computer. If we didn't have that accounting, what would he do? Have a huge warehouse full of computers? Well, no. Or software? No. He would probably have a huge warehouse full of chickens and wood and other products, because there would have been some type of barter system where he exchanged his goods and services for somebody else's goods and services. It would just get to a point where it would just be cumbersome. But when your wealth is, you can pick up your little iPhone and see how much money you have through your banking app. That's the only way that, you know, this richness is possible. Now you might counter and say, well, what about back in the olden days with the pharaohs and the kings? Well, they had slaves. It's that simple. They had armies. Yeah, sure, they had, you know, chests of gold, silver, diamonds, emeralds, and other precious metals and stones, but what was the point? You had to convert that to goods and services sooner or later. Can't eat gold. At least not much of it. Or silver. So, the main point is that you're a financial slave. There's really hardly any escape. You're not allowed to make money unless you have permission through the government. Even here on my ranch, I want to cut trees to make money. I had to file for a logging permit. I had to get permission to cut trees on my own land, to sell them. Then when I sell them, you have to make that report, to the Department of Forestry, Department of Revenue, because they want their share, their fair share, right? Fortunately, in this state, there's no sales tax. But if I go somewhere else, I have to pay a tax. If I want to fly a plane, got to pay a tax. Buy gasoline, I pay a tax. So they still get me. Wake up, America. Smell the hypocrisy.